Welcome back everyone dito sa special deep dive episode. Talagang tinulugan namin yung init ng ulo kagabi. Sabi ko, baka na naman may sasabihin tayo, baka may persona ng grata naman sa Senado. Right? As we try to deal. Kasi alam ko yung isa na naghamon sa akin na mag-bare knuckle fight sa Safe House One News the other day. Balita ko, ano na siya eh. Persona ng grata na siya sa Senado sa kakaasar niya doon sa the man of the kilay of the century, yung ating minamahal na Senate President. Now, just to be very technical about this, there are a couple of issues na gusto natin i-address today, legally and politically, and also, most importantly, and that's why I really suggested tulugan namin yan, kasi baka kung ano-anong sasabihin namin kagabi is, what is the way forward for those who want justice and accountability? Because the way na lumalabas itong debate na to is basically 2028 na yan, round 5. Hintayin nyo na lang, huwag na kayo mag-excited. It's just all about elections. We're gonna beat them there, which I found extremely troubling, especially when it comes from folks who should know better that hindi ito issue ng popularity. Ito po ay issue ng accountability and the rule of law. If you wanna leave this always to popularity contest, good luck na lang sa atin. Mag-fourth world na tayo. So, in order for us to have a relatively early bardagulan, eto na naman, yung bagong paborito natin dito, Jez Falsis. Attorney Jez Falsis. Attorney, eto na.
Hello. Kamusta ang tulog natin mula sa bangungot kahapon?
Medyo bangagi. Bangagi. Every 1 hour, gigising na naman. Ayoko na. Ayoko na. Ganun. Tapos baka binablind item na naman ako ng isang senador na DDS. Ito.
Ikaw ang paborito ngayon eh. Oh.
Daming sabi, si Roland Leos, sabi, hindi ako yan. Sa pinost ko yung isang video niya na, ito, hindi ko alam kung sino yan ha. Ito, hindi dyan, columnista, lecturer, ka na. Alam ko na kagad.
Lecturer, professor, kolumnista.
I'm sure hindi na Ronald yan by the time is that. Tapos the boy na pikon na masyado ha. Anyway, bago natin puntahan yung ating mga legal luminary sa loob ng ating Senado, pag-usapan natin, Star of the Night, Attorney Mark Oleta. Okay, Jesus, let's talk about this because the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes nung debate, hearing, whatever you want to call it, it was this magisterial, elegiac, diba? Talagang magnum opus procedural analysis ni Attorney, now Senador Mark Oleta, na paano na violate daw ng House of Representatives their own rules. Tapos the way he would talk, he would crack jokes. Ganito yun eh. Kumbaga sa ganitong lingwahe, hilaw. Maano ulit sa Ilocano yung hilaw? Hilaw. In Ilocano.
Verde.
Apay,
Yellow?
hindi, hilaw, like uncooked. Not cooked well. Si, mas alam pa ni Marco Leta sa, he said it in Ilonggo, in Waray, tapos nung nag-Ilocano siya, he said it in a thick accent, sabi ko, magaling to, magaling to. Anyway, bago natin na ma-retrieve yung Ilocano dictionary ko dyan, Jesus, let's talk about it seriously. Wasn't that basically what we keep on hearing from what certain quarters have been saying? Na already debunked na siya all over and over again. So let's first of all break down. Kamusta si Mark Oleta? What was his key legal arguments? And what are the loopholes?
So sa best case ni Attorney Marcoleta no na hindi naman halata na lawyer. Baka sabihin ako din hindi naman lawyer no. Pero si Marcoleta kasi when he was talking about legal arguments, he was talking really more about the facts. So hindi naman sa pagiging lawyer kailangan makipagdebate kay Marcoleta on the facts. Of course, ang pinaka best case dito for Marcoleta, he was a congressman before. I'll give it to him, no? So, he was a congressman in 19th Congress and madami siyang sinasabi na insider siya. Alam niya na hindi nasusunod daw yung mga rules or siya, hindi siya nabibigyan ng kopya, hindi sinicirculate yung articles of impeachment, yung pirma, mabilisan, etc. Okay, ganito yan. Assuming congressman siya, di ba, noon, assuming tama lahat ng mga sinasabi niya, wala na tayong paki doon. Internal rules na yan ng House of Representatives. In the best case, let's say may kalokohan sa loob ng House. The solution to that is the internal rules of the House. Ang concern ko kasi dito sa Supreme Court decision and sa ating pinapakialaman sa lahat ng mga rules and procedure ng impeachment trial, before bago mag 2025, the Supreme Court has always said na that is within the sole power of the House to initiate impeachment and promulgate rules. That is so clear in the Constitution. Ang Constitution is explicit on that. The power to promulgate rules is not with the Supreme Court. As to the rules of impeachment, it is with the House. So in many cases before, sabi ng Supreme Court, it is up to the House to promulgate the rules as long as walang ibang na-violate na text ng Constitution na clear or explicit din. So, ano ba sinasabi natin dito? Constitution is so free and wide to the House in terms of giving it latitude to promulgate rules to effectuate or give effect to the power to initiate impeachment. So, hindi yan talaga traditionally pinapakailaman ng Supreme Court. So, kapag sinabi ni Marcoleta na hindi naman na-circulate yan sa amin, hindi naman sa amin yan pinabasa, hindi naman kami lahat binigyan ng evidence, let's take a step back. Because ang sinasabi naman ng kabila, ng ibang House members, no, matagal na natin hinihiring ito. Nakailang hearings na tayo. Ilang beses na natin in-invite si Vice President Sara Duterte. Alam na natin lahat to, pinag-uusapan na natin to, nagsa-circulate na yung evidence within the Quadcom and outside of the Quadcom. But let's assume na tama yung allegation ni Marcoleta na wala talaga sinasirculate na evidence. The Constitution doesn't require that. The Constitution doesn't require that for the second mode of impeachment, which is again, the Manny-Villar route, the fast track route. Ang dami ng law professors, ang dami ng academics. Si Marcoleta, of course, is a lawyer. Ako, lawyer din ako. But I'm not saying I'm an expert. I defer and cite the experts. Etong mga framers of the Constitution, sila nagsulat ng Constitution. Sila may alam anong intent ng Constitution. And then you have law professors, nagtuturo, kinakain ang Constitution, kinakain ang batas, araw-gabi, tinuturo nila yan. So ano sinasabi nila? Sabi nila, ang due process, yung opportunity to rebut, opportunity to be heard, wala yan sa second mode. Basta may 1/3 na pirma, ang due process ay nasa trial. So, let's analyze, Richard, no? Bakit sinabi ng Constitution, trial shall forthwith proceed? Kasi nga, wala nang due process sa House pag may 1/3. Ang due process, binabato na kagad sa trial. So, pag nakagather ka ng 1/3, dahil hindi ka na nga nagkaroon ng hearing sa lower house, diretso sa Senate, the Senate should try forthwith para magkaroon na finally ng opportunity to be heard and opportunity to rebut the evidence kung sino man yung respondent. So, assuming tama si Marcoleta, kasi yun yung allegation niya, delikado pakinggan yung sinasabi niya na hindi naman daw sinirculate yung evidence, may mga congressman tulad niya na hindi naman pinabasa yung buong articles of impeachment, hindi naman nila nabasa yan, pinirmahan lang nila yan, signature form lang yan, etc. Walang problema doon because the act of initiation in the House, especially sa second mode na 1/3, is a political act. Si Chief Justice Puno nagsabi, House, initiation is a political act. The legal dimension of a trial or impeachment proceeding is in the Senate. So, with all due respect, yung due process na yan, even with the Supreme Court, I think they have mistaken understanding, especially when the framers, united ang framers dito lahat ng mga nabubuhay pa na nagsulat ng Constitution are unanimous in unison to say na there is no violation of due process in the lower house.
Right. We'll go to that later on because in fairness, Bam Aquino, his intervention was also along those lines. Ito na nga yung mga framers na nga nagsasabi mismo. These people should know better than all of us. Ano ba talaga intent at saka yung spirit of the, if not the, and of course the letter of the Constitution, the highest, legal document of the land. But are you basically saying was this kind of flimsy nitpicking? Or basically rehash of already debunked arguments. And for me, it's interesting that you mentioned ex-congressman si Marcoleta because that makes me, I always wondered why would Marcoleta make that motion, right? Of everyone dun sabihin natin isang camp na, sige na nga, guest of PDP Laban, right? I always wonder why did he have to clarify na hindi siya DDS at guest lang naman siya ng PDP Laban. Wala naman talaga siya. And my sense is it's not because he's necessarily a legal luminary, it's because he comes from the Congress and probably he wanted to project na dumaan ako dyan eh. Alam ko yan, hindi yan, hilaw yan, hindi niluto na mabuti. Kaya wag na natin patulan dito. Wasn't that the basic message there? And probably the reason why they chose him to make the motion to basically dismiss this entire trial.
You're definitely correct, no? Appeal to authority siya na I know personally for a fact. Appeal to authority, authority niya dahil nanggaling siya sa baba, he was there during the 19th Congress. So, compared to Senator Bato, compared to Senator Bongo, baka nag-strategize sila na it is Marcoleta who is best to attack the factual basis of the impeachment, yung pagkahilaw ng impeachment complaint, yung defect ng impeachment complaint, dahil alam niya di umano. Pero hindi niya pwedeng alam kasi isa lang siya. And yet there were 200 plus congressmen who thought otherwise than him. So yung appeal to authority niya, mali din kasi isang tao lang siya compared to the other congressmen na binoto din ng tao.
You're saying it's a fringe opinion, basically.
Fringe opinion, yes.
We mean it in a technical mathematical sense. Fringe meaning out of 200, like not even 1% opinion rate. And again, a part of me felt when I was listening to Senator Marcoleta, it's like it's as if wala yung motion for reconsideration filed so beautifully by the Solicitor General, the former dean and salutatorian of UP Law. I mean, you want to. Kasi I keep on hearing as a practitioner of law, I mean, hindi lang appeal to authority as a former congressman. There was an appeal to authority as I'm a lawyer. I was like, yeah, but like, dude, like, come on. Like, let's talk about Solicitor General. Let's talk about dean. Let's talk about, people graduating with honors from the top university in the country. Kasi yun nga kasi bro, pumapalakpak yung mga nandun sa Senate na iba. I'll tell you, if you were there, parang, wow, impressed na impressed kayo. Ano ba?
Hindi ba mga DDS vloggers lang yung pumapalakpak?
Bakit sila nakapasok? Ay, ba't parang pumapalakpak sila tapos yung nag-joke siya about hilaw and ganun-ganun. Yung mga pedestrian jokes niya, ganun. Like, okay, like, and then that tuwan-tuwa yung mga nandun na mga tao. Okay, now, let's transition to your...
May I ask, hindi ba parang bias yung Senado? Kasi di ba alam ko yung mga pumapalakpak, ayaw nila yan kapag kalaban eh. Or ayaw nila yung nagbubu kapag binubu naman yung mga pro-Duterte na senador dyan. So bakit nila inaalaw yung palakpak porket kakampi nila? Inaalaw nila yung palakpak? Eh yung mga akbayan tsaka si Kiko D, pinagbabawalan ng mga
shout out to Mig Zubiri for calling for decorum after nag-react si isa sa mga apo ni Ninoy Aquino, si Paeng, a couple of people whose credentials in terms of fighting for a better democracy is unquestionable. Obviously, I'm not talking about the senators. I'm talking about yung mga parang pinapagalitan. Tsaka ang higpit sa media para makapasok. By the way, shout out dun sa mga kaibigan natin sa Senado for arranging it. Because honestly, bro, like, nung umulan, sabi ko, wala na to, wala na pupunta. So medyo late na ako dumating, thinking, what am I gonna do here? Biglang the next thing I know, andun lahat ng mga tibak. Ayun na, hug-hug na kami. Lahat ng yung mga, alam mo yung mga tao na Shimenat, that whole Shimenat hearing. Shimenat, di ba? Those people were all there. So, isa-isa ko sila na interview, di ba? And then dumating sila, Ma'am Franz Castro, gano'n, yan, iratag nyo na kami. And then sabi ko, wait lang, gusto kong pumasok sa Senado, so I had to make certain call. So, I use my official ID in media, gano'n. Then, pumasok ako. And then like, ba't ang daming DDS ito? And then, like, every time Marcoleta would say something na parang, ha? And then biglang tuwan-tuwa yung mga, tama, magaling. Alam mo yung parang nasa barangay ka, tapos yung mga, tama. Bro, I'm telling you, the whole thing was just, what's going on here? Kaya gumaganon talaga ako eh. Parang, sige na nga, pagbigyan natin. Okay, ito na. To make
And tama ba Richard, na yung pwesto nyo, yung media, kunwari may official badge ka na media and yung mga traditional media na kilala natin na legit, pangit yung pwesto nyo daw compared sa mga DDS vloggers.
Ayoko na magsalita. Kasi baka hindi na ako makapasok sa Senate. Diba na medyo last minute din ako pumasok eh. Like, magpasalamat na lang muna ako. I'll be in the conciliatory mode bago magbardagulan. Let's talk about this because this is where suddenly things got interested. while I was looking at the fashion statement of Senator Marcoleta, and you can see minsan si Senator Marcoleta would say speaker, and then like suddenly he'll realize he's not Congress speaker. President, Mr. President. We're gonna. While I was looking at their fashion, biglang si Soto lumabas, attorney Soto, Senator Soto. Iba yung fashion niya, Ferragamo style lang, ano. Ito na lang, medyo slow ang build up ni Tito Soto. And honestly, I was not very impressed when he couldn't clarify na yung cases ng self-reversal by the Supreme Court, whether they were unanimous or not. Kaya kagabi, immediately I shared from Professor Paulo Tamase of UP Law na actually we do have cases whereby the Supreme Court actually has reversed itself even when it had unanimous decision. So in particular, let me read this from Paulo. Sabi niya, in today's Senate impeachment debate, was there ever a unanimous decision reversed by the Philippine Supreme Court? The answer is absolutely yes. International versus Greenpeace GR number 209271, December 8, 2015, right? So basically, we can talk about other things. Because in the last discussion we had another discussion about a recent reversal, right? Which mentioned ni Tito Soto, but he was not sure if it was unanimous or not. So thank you so much again. Shout out dun sa mga kaibigan natin sa talagang mga legal scholars and
UP
experts.
Law.
UP
Oh, Professor of Constitutional Law.
Exactly.
Yes.
Lang naman. I mean, ano lang, tabi-tabi lang naman to. Immediately clarify, actually we have, like, parang fact check. So, how do you see Tito Soto coming in and people saying, we never thought we'll see Tito Soto as the... okay, hindi ko natatapusin itong sentence ko. Ikaw, bro. What is your take on Tito Soto?
Si Senator Soto naman, no, more than the citing of the case na may reversal, hindi sa kanya naging punto yun eh. Mas naging punto yun for Senator Risa later on. But as to the performance of Senator Soto, I actually think, no, and many fair-minded, independent viewers would have thought na mas tunog abogado si Senator Soto kaysa kay Senator Marcoleta. And that's because if the facts are with you and if the right arguments are with you, if doon ka naman talaga sa tamang arguments nagde-debate, mas magmumukhang tama ka talaga. Mas tutunog tama ka talaga. For example, yung sinasabi ni Senator Soto about session days, yung February 5, adjournment sine die, napag-usapan na natin yan. Dito, di ba, Richard, nung February 5, akala ng Supreme Court, sa decision ng Supreme Court na adjournment sine die na ang February 5. When in fact, ang adjournment sine die nilang ng Senate was June 13. And we know that for a fact kasi nga, after ng campaign period, after ng election, nag-session pa ulit ang House tsaka ang Senado. So hindi pa patay, quote-unquote, na terminated lahat ng bills, terminated lahat ng pending business ng Congress. So hindi pwede magkaroon ng effective dismissal, sabi ni Senator Soto, among other things. No, ang alam ko kay Senator Soto very diligent yan. Para siyang si former President Ramos. I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you know, no? Madami kasi nagsasabi nung panahon ni Ramos may term na complete staff work. Bago ka pumasok for work, bago ka mag-report, dapat CSW ka. Complete staff work. So, I think he did his research. Nag-consult siya ng mga kanyang legal luminary. Hindi ako part na mga kinonsult niya, so hindi bias or conflict of interest for me to say he did this research and it shows yung kay Senator Soto.
It shows, and let's talk about this because so it was Tito Soto who really took up the cudgels, and we saw that happening immediately because the other day lang he said, you can also be unanimously wrong, right? Kasi yun ang parating ginagamit ng kabila. Unanimous naman, ano ba mga sabi niya, yun na. So he was already taking a strong stance, no? Now, what I found interesting is also immediately another veterano, Senator Lacson, coming in and saying, wait lang, parang wala sa procedures natin itong pinagsasabi yung dismissal. Basically, yung mga pinaggagawa ng TDS since last 19th Congress pa, di ba? Although I jokingly said, parang mas na-miss ko pa yung 19th Congress after what happened last night. But anyway, how do you see Senator Lacson really taking up the cudgels, coming in? Nag-abstain siya dun sa isang motion, but nevertheless, coming in and saying, wait lang, I'm a veteran of this institution, most of these whatevers. these rules are not even here. Before we go to Kiko, because Kiko immediately legally shut down the legalist explanation about, oh no, you don't need certain rules kasi, I mean, suppletory ba yan? That's the term. So
Suppletory.
sorry, suppletory, yeah. So can we discuss the Lacson intervention and about, hey, let's not forget our own rules in the Senate, and kasi parang ano ba, meron bang new research development department itong Senate natin, nag-invent ng terms, remanding, dismissal, ngayon archiving, pag-usapan natin yan. So, how do you see the Lacson coming in? Because he was, in fairness to Tito Lacson, I'll give him some credit.
Senator Ping kasi is a former cop. So former PNP chief, we have to understand his personality. Siya ay isang rules-based na tao. So talagang kahit nag-abstain siya, baka disappointed ka, sabi mo, last Congress, 5 ang ngayon 4 lang plus 1 abstain ni Lacson. The reason why he abstained in terms of the voting is because ang position pa din niya, respect the Supreme Court. So, rule of law based. Ngayon, yung pamboljak naman niya or pagsupalpal niya kay Marcoleta is in the sense na let's also follow the rules. Kung ano yung minomotion mo, is it in the rules? So, Lacson correctly pointed out na walang motion to dismiss an impeachment case sa Senate rules because, and this was already tackled sa 19th Congress, when the Senate acts as a legislative body, there is no motion to dismiss an impeachment sa Senate rules because you are not acting as an impeachment court. And even if you convene as an impeachment court, nung 19th Congress na debate pa to, no? Pag kinonvene mo yun as an impeachment court, wala din sa specific Senate rules on impeachment ang motion to dismiss because sabi nga ng Constitution, Senate should trial shall forthwith proceed sa Senate. So the power of the Senate is to try and decide, walang power to dismiss. So yung mga sinaunang rules na napasa noon, which inadopt din ng Congress ngayon, walang motion to dismiss. But let's clarify, so ano nangyari kahapon? Motion to archive. Kaya na-transform yung motion to dismiss ni Marcoleta to motion to archive because by precedence, so ang Senate kasi it follows both rules and tradition. Kung nagawa na yan before, pwede na natin gawin yan kasi part na yan ng tradition natin. The first 2 impeachment before were archived. Na-archive yung kay ERAP dahil nagka-EDSA 2 because it was moot and academic. Wala nang kailangang i-impeach. So yung na-abort na impeachment trial noong 2001 was archived. Ditas Gutierrez, yung napadalang impeachment, articles of impeachment sa Senate, also moot in academic archive. So sabi ng nag-amend ng motion, let's do motion to archive because we've done that before. That's in our rules. That's in our tradition. Ang motion to dismiss, wala. So in fairness kay Senator Lacson, he's a rules-based person. Basta nasa rules.
Technically, kasi they were playing the technical game, although your contention is that questionable yung premise. He played the technical term to out-technical their technical game. Kasi still debate at the very beginning, nakita natin umikot-ikot lang tayo dun di ba? I think the observation of Attorney Dino also, I sensed that in the first hour. So I think that was a smart strategy to come in and say, well, okay, you want to be a very rules-bound institution. Let's talk about our own rules. In fact, I was looking at kung tumaas ang kilay ni actually, I think Cheese was also a little bit surprised, like the way Lacson just came in. What are you talking about? This is good. And he was trying to say, hindi, na-resolve na namin yung 19th Congress. Tapos na, no, wait. Okay, now let's go to the kasi pupunta yung ultimate case kasi natin dito is executory pero hindi final. So we'll go back to that later on because that talks about what are the next steps. But before we go there, Attorney Jez, let me rewind a little bit here. Yung suppletory, the idea that, even if it's not in the rules, based on, I don't know, practice, ganyan, we can still make blah, blah, blah. This is where I think Kiko's had a good timing of coming in. So we're trying to analyze one by one paano pumasok itong mga Fantastic Five na ito, di ba? So now suddenly Kiko comes in as a lawyer, like, wait, what are you talking about here? Can you talk about that? How Kiko shut down the whole, yung suppletory, ito yung ginagawa namin as practitioner, lawyers, etc.
Ang motion to dismiss kasi nasa normal rules, no? In normal trial, may motion to dismiss. But ang sinasabi ni Senator Kiko, you only apply those other rules suppletory kung walang specific rule na nag-a-apply sa atin? Because let's remember, when any rule says that other rules apply suppletory, they only apply kapag walang specific rule. Kasi nga, baka silent yung rules nyo, hindi nyo napag-isipan na may ganito palang situation, may iba na palang rule na pwedeng hiramin. So hihiram ka lang kung wala ka namang ballpen. Di ba kung may ballpen ka na, bakit ka pa hihiram ng ballpen ng iba? So gagamitin mo yung sarili mong ballpen.
Dapat siya, hindi siya first resort basically.
Yes. Ano lang siya, last resort, hindi siya first resort. And let's remember, ang motion to dismiss, hindi yan laging applicable. Madami ng bagong rules and bagong trial procedures na bawal. Bawal na ang motion to dismiss because ano lang yan, dilatory or it's a delaying tactic. So ang ginagawa ngayon ng courts in some cases imbes na mag-motion to dismiss, sumagot ka, tapos kung meron ka talagang motion to dismiss, isama mo sa sagot mo. Pero, i-consider ko na yan lahat holistically. I-consider ko yung sagot mo, i-consider ko din na pero may question ka on jurisdiction, may question ka on technicality, tapos sa dulo ko na yan i-decide sama-sama na, hindi na before na mag-motion to dismiss ka, tapos sasagot ka later, delaying tactic. Yes. So sabi ni Senator Kiko, sa Senate rules natin, we have specific rules about archiving, about not dismissing. Kasi walang dismissal. Try and decide lang ang Senate rules natin on impeachment. So, those rules do not apply suppletory.
Okay, which raises an important point, right? We'll go back to the Supreme Court again shortly, no? Because the accusation against the Supreme Court by the critics is that parang they're basically inventing their own doctrines and procedures. Are we seeing a situation whereby our Senate is also creating inventing new legal, CUDA basically to work their way around this? Is this what's going on? What's up? No, I mean, like when remanding, remission, these things were coming out. Even like the word archive, what does that mean? Patay na ba? Or pwede ibuhay ulit? Ano to? Mummification ba ito? People are wondering what's going on here. It sounds a bit strange.
The Senate also has the power to promulgate its own rules to effectively carry out the provisions of Article 11, which is the power of the Senate to try and decide. Ngayon, they can invent new rules. I will give Senate that because sabi nga ng Constitution, you have the power to promulgate rules under this article. But hindi dapat to kontra sa Constitution. So kung sabi ng Constitution, ang power mo to try and decide, lahat ng iimbentuhin mong rules na ipopromulgate mo ay related dapat sa trial and decision making. Hindi dapat sa itatapon mo na lang or ililimbo mo or ipopurgatory mo. Ngayon, anyway, may tradition na. Of course, the Constitution naman is a finite document. Hindi siya unlimited, no? There are many other situations that can come up na baka hindi na-envision ng Constitution. For example, EDSA 2. So na-abort yung kay ERAP, may nag-walk out, na-abort, archive. Yung kay Merceditas Gutierrez, resignation. Walang sinasabing Constitution, paano kung mag-resign yung impeachable officer before? Ano nang gagawin mo sa trial? O edi archive, so sabi yun ng Senado noong 2011. So, etong archive na to, ang value naman ito, this is the second point already, Justice Carpio has already spoken out on this. And many observers like me agree na actually napakaganda ng development for us sa mga anti-Duterte. Akala ng mga pro-Duterte, sila yung nanalo. Una, hindi nila napasa yung motion to dismiss. Nagpa-amend sila. They agreed to change the term. From motion to dismiss, naging motion to archive. Anong value ng archive? Di ba ikaw, Richard, sa likod mo, meron kang bookshelf. Pag in-archive mo yung libro mo, binasa mo. Okay, hindi ko muna tapusin. Kailangan ko na pumunta ng trabaho or magla-livestream ako. Ilagay mo yung libro sa bookshelf, ina-archive mo siya. Di ba parang librarian?
With Tito Soto saying na feeling niya pag-archive, ibig sabihin deads.
Ano lang niya yun, dramatic effect niya yun. Pero mas clear na dead ang impeachment kung dismissal. Kasi pag dismissal, dismiss, tinapon mo ang archive, ibang ibig sabihin ng archive. Ang archive, you store it. Di ba? Pag you store it, can you retrieve it? Pwede. pwede mong alisin sa archive, di ba? Di ba may term na retrieve from the archives. So sabi ni Justice Carpio, the approval of the motion to archive gives more strength to the motion for reconsideration kasi kung na-dismiss yung kung yung motion to dismiss kahapon ang na-approve, sasabihin ng Supreme Court most likely sa MR, moot and academic. Wala na tayong pag-uusapan kasi dinismiss na ng Senado. But since it's only archived, pag the MR is granted, pwede pang i-retrieve ulit yan ng Senado na sige, start na tayo ulit ng impeachment. Sabi naman ng Supreme Court, pwede na eh. Kung i-reverse ng Supreme Court and this should tie the hands of the senators who voted for the motion to archive because the reason for voting for it was let's follow the Supreme Court. Let's respect the decision of the Supreme Court. I-reverse na ng Supreme Court sarili nila. But they have no reason not to retrieve it from the archive.
Babalikan ko later about the next steps, no? Because I think there's going to be another motion for intervention to be filed today. There was one by Juan Sambayan already kahapon that I did it because there's an MR. Wait lang tayo, hindi pa tapos ang usapan. Let's wait for kasi executor but not final. But let me talk about the executor but not final part. Parang hindi ko maintindihan bakit pabalik-balik tayo doon sa issue na yan. Hindi ba medyo obvious when you say executor but not final, meaning yes, of course, yung Supreme Court pag nag-decision na as a final interpreters ba, yeah, given na yan. But meron ng motion for reconsideration. So, hindi pa rin final ito. So, let's wait muna for the court to address it. At doon, nakita ko rin tweet mo nung sinabi ni Soto, what if the Supreme Court, and then nung sinabi ni Marcoleta na that's a hypothetical question. Like, so what's your hypothetical answer, right? Like, that was an interesting back and forth. Because I just don't understand why there's already saying, hindi, tapos ng laban, hindi naman magre-reverse yung Supreme Court na yun. Kaya, tapusin na natin to. Like now, I found it like kind of a strange kind of argument, diba? Which brings us eventually to BAM because BAM suddenly came in election mode. Sabi nila matatalo tayo pero manalo tayo. Wait lang. Medyo iba yung vibe ni BAM. Parang relax lang bro. Like, but I see a connection with that. Yung idea na, hindi, hypothetical, hindi naman nanalo sa Supreme Court yan, hindi na magre-reverse yan diba? So can we talk about that part? Yung executory, yes, immediately. Pero hindi pa siya final dahil nga may mga MRs na at may motion for intervention na rin. Paki-explain sa mga henyo nating kaibigan na hindi, parang hindi nila nagigets yan. Paikot-ikot yun eh. I mean, literally, for 1.5 hours, I'm seeing Pia Cayetano, another Cayetano coming in and trying to push a certain line. Like, ang daling intindihin yung idea na yan eh. Paki-explain sa mga kaibigan natin.
Syempre, yung mga pro-Duterte kasi, when you say immediately executory, sabi ng Supreme Court, and wini-iterate naman yun ng Supreme Court, sabi nila, immediately executory yung aming decision. So, if the decision is to say na null and void ang impeachment and the Senate did not acquire jurisdiction, ang conclusion kasi niyan, the Senate should not continue with the trial. So, merong ganun talagang mga decision ang courts. Let's give an analogy first, no? Pag immediately executory, for example, may nagsampa ng VAUSI, Violence Against Women and Children. Ang interim ruling, magkakaroon niya ng preliminary ruling or decision. Immediately executory, magbigay ka ng support, lalaki, habang pending yung kaso for child support or for physical violence and emotional financial violence, sa tingin ko may kaso, magbigay ka na ng support habang pending. Pero pwede yan ma-reverse. Kasi baka sa dulo, makita ng judge, because you presented evidence later on, na ay, hindi mo naman pala kailangan magbigay ng support kasi hindi mo naman pala anak or some other reason. Eventually, maniniwala yung court sa'yo, i-reverse. So, ang immediately executory is while the case is pending, in the meantime, you execute my decision. Let's apply that to the Senate, no? Ngayon, is a motion to archive inconsistent with immediately executory? Hindi. Because, pag immediately executory, ano ba yung pinapagawa ng Supreme Court? Stop the trial. Kasi nga, ang decision nila...
So basically, we're getting a deferral here. Again, sorry for cutting it. I know your train of thought is in a certain direction, pero ako kasi gusto kong tapusin muna.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Kasi ganito, basically, dalawang gusto mangyari ng tao na may accountability. One is tuloy ang impeachment trial kasi nag-acquire niya ng jurisdiction ng Senate, and at the end of the day, the Senate has the final say on this issue. In fact, this is the position of the former IBP president, among a couple of other people who reiterated this. At the end of the day, this is up to the Senate. So there's a very strong argument in that. But I think what happened here is, realistically, they said, let's go at least for deferral. Right? Okay, wag muna mag-trial, pero wag rin tayo mag-decide na i-dismiss yung trial. Let's just wait for the... So basically what you're saying is that yesterday was not necessarily defeat for one side and not necessarily victory for the other side, because we got a de facto deferral, right?
Yes.
So in a sense,
Yes.
the argument na executory but not final ng camp nila Soto and the minority won rather than the other version, which is, hindi, executory na to, tapos na to, tapusin na natin to.
Yes. It's like a deferral. Yes. When you say archive, you just let it lay there, di ba? That's why, ang gusto nga ni Soto, kaya maganda yung motion niya, very parliamentarian, he had mastery of the rules. Motion to table. I-table mo lang dyan. Pag tinable mo kasi yan, based on parliamentary rules, pwede mong hugutin ulit yan para gawing buhay yung motion or gawing buhay yung issue. So pag tinable mo, dyan lang. And will that comply with the Supreme Court ruling? I think so. Kasi nga, ang sabi lang naman ng Supreme Court ruling is, stop the trial. So, immediately executory, sure, don't proceed with the trial. O ngayon, hindi naman nagpa-proceed sa trial yung Senate. Pero pwede nilang i-start yung trial if the MR is granted. And that would not have been possible if dinismiss mo na. Kasi pag dinismiss mo na, there's nothing to restart. There's nothing to retrieve from the archives, and there's nothing to bring back to the table, if ever. So, the motion to archive actually allows the MR time to convince the Supreme Court. And i-relate na natin kagad dito, Richard, kasi medyo natanong mo na kanina, na-bring up mo na yung sinabi ni Prof. Paulo Tamase, a unanimous decision, 13 justices, 13 din to same number. Kasi bakit hindi 15? Kasi may dalawa na hindi nag-decide. Nung international services versus Greenpeace. Ano bang kaso na to? If you know, genetically modified, quote-unquote, no, GMO, pero it's not really GMO. May tinatawag tayong BT, talong. It's like reinforced vegetable or plant na mas nutritious or I forget, hindi ako scientist.
Let's get a bio to come in. Okay, let's just say, okay, so what was that case all about, and how relevant it is that nag-reverse ng Supreme Court ng sarili niya after almost identical number of unanimity, meaning 13 din, di ba? So may mga may dalawa rin na nag-abstain or nag-inhibit or absent siguro, no?
Yes. That case kasi was also about constitutionality because si Harry Roque yun, representing Greenpeace, was attacking the research.
Those were the days.
No, not those were the days kasi mali si Harry Roque. Nandun siya sa losing side.
So those were the days that gave us a warning of what was to come. Those are the days na alam na natin saan papunta dapat.
Yes. Harry Roque was representing Greenpeace. Greenpeace wanted to question BT Talong kasi nga anti-GMO si Greenpeace. So the Philippines, remember we have IRRI here. IRI, International Rice Research Institute. Meron din tayong dati, di ba? I don't know, Richard, if tama. We had the golden rice. Yung parang din, GMO na rice.
Ano pa nila yata yun Senior pa yun.
I think so.
Revolution time pa yata yun.
But this one is about BT Talong. The government was researching and wanting to introduce BT Talong. Sabi ni na Harry Roque Greenpeace, stop. Kasi unconstitutional. Violation of the right to health, violation of the right to ecology, yung mga ibang constitutional basis.
Ayaw niya ng reinforced talong? Yun yung
Ayaw nila ng GMO. That's the accusation. It's a genetically modified organism. Ganon. Medyo siya, panic, fear-mongering. Again, hindi ako scientist, no? But, and I'll explain this later. But the first decision declared it unconstitutional. Yung government research and administrative order allowing for BT Talong to proceed. Unconstitutional. So, pasado na kay Marcoleta. Null and void. Null and void din daw from the beginning, yung administrative order. So pasado din kay Marcoleta. Walang due process. Pasado din doon sa standards ng Sara Duterte case, di ba? Unanimous, unconstitutional, null and void, violation of due process. Sakto-sakto. 1 year later, reverse. Unanimously, the unanimous mistake in 2015 was unanimously reversed in 2016. And Justice Leonen had a concurring opinion in 2015. Meron na naman siyang concurring opinion in 2016, reversing himself. So sa 2016, sabi nila, constitutional na ito for this and that reason. But to cut it short, what was the reason why they reversed themselves, the Supreme Court? Because the scientific community created a backlash. Talagang nagreklamo yung scientific community. Walang masama sa BT Talong.
Maganda sa talong. Oh, hindi kayo expert sa hindi lang kayong expert sa talong.
Well, ako, dapat expert daw kami, no? But wala akong alam sa talong.
Very scientific sa usapan talong. Kasi ang dami nagre-react sa talong discussion. Like, how did we start with the Senate? Now, nasa talong na tayo. Anyway, go ahead.
Because yung sinight ni Senator Risa na kaso, ang pangalan ng kaso na sinight ni Senator Risa, International Services versus Greenpeace, yung controversy doon was actually about allowing BT Talong or not. Yun.
And it's important because it's about the scientific facts which were not initially taken in consideration. And then when the scientists, hey, actually ito yung facts, huwag kayo makinig dito sa itong ano na to, then they reverse them, which is what people are saying right now na we're not questioning the good intentions, the legal rigor of the Supreme Court, pero baka naman din nila nakita yung relevant facts. So that's the symmetry we're looking at, right? This whole talong and rules of the HOR symmetry.
Amen. Saktong-sakto. Lahat ng hinahanap na ingredients, Ricardos, ni Senator Marcoleta, was it unanimous? Decided? Was it on the issue of constitutionality? Was it a declaration of null and void? Was it on the issue of due process? Yes. Tapos dagdagan natin tayo. Ang problema natin, di ba? Factual. Factual issue ang concern natin sa Sara Duterte versus House. Factual issue din yung sa BT Talong. So, saktong-sakto, wala na silang masasabi.
Except one problem. You said what? It took 1 year. Oh my God. Like, hindi ba kaya mas mabilis mangyari dito? Kasi actually the 1 year is the one that got my, like, I immediately saw the talong and like, I saw everything parang perfect symmetry, di ba? Ang problema ko lang yung timeline, parang kung 1 year na rin, edi February na tayo mag-file ulit kung gano'n na. So how do you see the timeline then now? Okay, now we're going to start, yeah.
Ang concern and appreciation ko for that case, no, even if 1 year, let's say, mag-drag on yung MR sa Supreme Court, I think that's still better. You know why? Because reversing an error is better late than never. Kasi, ang concern ko dyan, Richard, kahit sinasabi nila, mag-file na lang kayo sa February 6, 2026. Kahit mag-file sa February 6, 2026, applicable na yung mga bagong rules. Tsaka baka questioning nila ulit sa Supreme Court yan. 1 year bar, factual, ganun. So, kung baguhin ng Supreme Court eventually yung kanilang decision, better kasi for future impeachment, that's the concern. How do we ever file impeachment? Kasi sabi nga ng mga legal luminaries, no, it makes it harder to file an impeachment complaint. Sabi ni Terry Ridon, baka wala ng impeachment.
Part, right? Yeah, we have to focus on that because very dismissive yung tone ni, was it Cayetano, whatever legal luminary out there. One of the critics is being raised is that hindi lang ito usapin na i-refile nyo na lang ulit kasi hilaw. Ang issue dito is parang pinalitan daw ng Supreme Court yung rules around initiating an impeachment, which will have significant implications for future accountability moves if ever there are abuses on the part. Now, there was a very dismissive tone by the DDS camp, by a certain camp in the Senate. Can you explain to our good friends in what way, based on what we already had Justice Ascuna, Justice Carpia, among others on this show, but what is your understanding of how medyo alanganin na ngayon because hinikpitan yung basically latitude for initiating impeachment and how problematic that could become for our democracy? So hindi lang ito, refile lang next year. Kasi I even hear this from mga kakamping na followers na Hindi, okay lang yan. Ano lang, i-refile na lang natin next year. Like, parang, it's not even an issue of political momentum anymore eh. Parang, wait lang, something else is going on here. So, paki-explain ulit, Jez.
Well, sabi kasi ng Supreme Court no doon sa two modes. Sa first mode, nabago na nga yung definition, hindi na siya filing and referral. Parang ang dating ngayon, filing pa lang, lalo na kapag hindi mo naman yan inaksyonan sa House, pag inupuan mo, quote-unquote, effective dismissal na yon. So, ang magiging effect niyan, lahat ng mga nangyari noon kay Oliver Lozano, Attorney Oliver Lozano, panahon ni GMA, file siya ng file ng bogus impeachment complaint just to trigger the one-year bar. Sa first mode,
Exactly. Mm.
magpa-file na yan sa first mode, no? Yun yung magiging effect kasi nabago na yung Francisco na doctrine tsaka yung Gutierrez doctrine. Sa second mode naman, Richard, no, ito yung one-third. Ang sabi ng Supreme Court, kailangan itong pito na to makomply nyo din maliban sa one-third vote. Napaka-onerous nung requirement, lalo na sa plenary vote,
The threshold
kailangan.
is very high now. The threshold is very high, yeah.
And this is what's ridiculous. Imagine this ha. Sa plenary vote, pagbobotohan daw yung one-third na articles of impeachment to transmit to the Senate, dapat magka-opportunity to be heard ang respondent. Remember, sa second mode, walang Committee of Justice referral doon. Ang meron doon, plenary vote. So pupunta si Sara Duterte sa plenary ng House na 300
Parang
plus.
semi-trial na kaagad. Parang, which is what you want to see in the Senate eventually, right?
It
Yeah.
will become redundant. Yes.
Exactly yun nga eh. So it's, oh wow. Kasi yun nga, hindi na, I see a lot of people saying, okay lang yan, i-refile na lang sa February. Like, no, you're not understanding the implication here, right? This is not about Sarah anymore. This is about the whole concept of accountability when it comes to impeachment of any erring high-level official.
Yes, propaganda kasi nila yan. Propaganda yan ng DDS side for them to really prove in the short term na wala namang problema. Ginagaslight yung mga tao, wala namang problema. Pero long term kasi, may problema. Ngayon pa lang, may problema na dahil dapat may trial na nga. Tapos long term, mas mahirap na mag-impeach, lalo na ng justices. And this is with all due respect to them, they are still impeachable officers under the Constitution, but with the new procedures and the new doctrine that they laid out in Sara Duterte versus House of Representatives, they made it harder to impeach themselves, the justices.
So you're saying there's a conflict of interest there potentially.
Well, definitely clear case of conflict of interest, and I'm not sure, Richard, kung nakadating na sa'yo, no? Si Dean Mel Santa Maria and some other commentators, we noted doon sa Leonen Ponencia na meron siyang obiter. An obiter is an irrelevant portion na hindi kailangan pero sinulat. So mababasa mo pa din. Sabi doon sa decision ni Leonen na members of a collegial body cannot be impeached for a collegial decision. Ano bang collegial decision? Supreme Court decision. Collegial yan kasi pipirmahan niya ng iba't ibang justices eh. So hindi pala pwedeng gawing basis ang Supreme Court decision for impeachment. But I'm sure, Richard, sa US, sa United States, tsaka sa ibang bansa, Supreme Court decisions can be a basis to impeach a Supreme Court justice.
Oh, wow. Hindi, kaya nga, I think people are saying there are many moving parts here. Kaya I said, Giz, tulugan natin to kasi baka ma-overlook natin. So if you look at it, we're covering all the angles here, right? From the very opening ano ni Marcoleta to what the framers have been saying to the notion of executory but not final to the implications of the Supreme Court ruling for any impeachment process henceforth. This is no longer about Sara Duterte, which I think naturally brings us to really itong penultimate discussion na ito, which is itong argument which I found really strange that some of our friends try to echo it. This idea that, ayun niyo lang kay Sara eh, ganyan-ganyan lang kayo eh. Talunin niyo na lang sa 2028, which I found a very troubling line of argumentation. So parang daan na lang lahat sa popularity contest. Even for a moment, again, for the sake of argument, sabihin natin, hindi totoo lahat ng mga sinasabi na the rules, the threshold of impeachment has radically changed. The idea that idaan na lang natin sa election issues of accountability after everything that has been exposed and could have been exposed, that should have been exposed or should have been at least given a chance to be exposed or disproved. in that regard. I just find that argument very troubling, and in my opinion, it actually betrays the very populist, anti-democratic streak of certain individuals. And unfortunately, it looks like it comes from both sides because it looks like there are certain people who are not only very sure that Sara could become the next president, there are also some people who seem to be too sure that Sara can be defeated by their preferred candidate come 2028. Eto na tayo, Jesus. We're gonna go back. Magluluto na naman tayo. This is the really interesting part kasi the question is what now? Diba? What next? So what you're saying is that the good news is dahil archive ito, at most in-mummify nila yan but we're hoping medyo mas mabilis para pwede natin ilabas once the Supreme Court addresses the motion for reconsideration. Which my read, Jess, is ito na yung de facto oral arguments na hindi nangyari na gusto sana ni Panginiban, Chief Justice Panginiban. But anyway, but in the meantime, the question also is what is next? Because there's a lot of demoralization. There are a lot of people who don't understand the implication of this who said, tapos ng laban, let's just prepare for round 5. And in fact, half-jokingly, me being, alam mo, Ojon Provocateur, sabi ko, ito na, round 5 na tayo, Pink ulit versus DDS, di ba? Para 2016, 2019, 2022, 2025. It looks like the momentum is getting more and more in favor of the Pinks. But having said that, that misses the point, right? If we reduce this to popularity in election.
If elections were the sole tool to hold a corrupt impeachable officer accountable, edi dapat binura na lang yung Article 11. Bakit pa sinulat yung Article 11? Kasi 6 years ang presidente, 6 years ang vice president, 6 years ang senador. Hindi naman pwedeng mag-aantay ka lang every election to hold a corrupt public officer accountable. Iba yung issue ng elections sa issue ng accountability. Kasi pag election, hindi naman necessarily corruption ang reason mo bakit ka boboto o hindi boboto sa tao. Ang reason mo para bumoto ay may maganda pa siyang polisiya, 'di ba? Meron ba siyang magandang plataforma, mapapababa ba niya yung presyo ng mga kuryente, tubig, pagkain, etc. 'Yun ang basihan karaniwan sa eleksyon. Ang basihan sa corruption sa impeachment ay culpable violation of the Constitution, accountability, betrayal of public trust, etc. So, hindi pwedeng sabihin na pag hindi nanalo ang impeachment, mag-antay na lang ng eleksyon, 'di ba? Ibang accountability. But with that said, no, is impeachment the only tool for accountability? Fortunately, no. For a vice president, no? Lalo na sa vice president. Kasi ang vice president, walang immunity from suit. So actually, we can wait for the next ombudsman and see what the direction of the ombudsman will take. Whether or not the ombudsman will be more pro accountability and anti-corruption, unfortunately, unlike the last ombudsman who was very anti-publication of SALN, siya nagtago ng SALN. Dati talagang madali lang kunin yung SALN ng mga public officials. Sana doon magsimula yung next ombudsman, then we will see how the next ombudsman will also address the confidential funds issue, the other corruption allegations against Sara Duterte, etc. So hindi pa tapos ang laban. We don't have to wait for the next elections to hold someone accountable.
Towards the end of this, we're trying to just wrap this up, no? I'm still trying to figure out how to create kasi I'm trying to create space rin sa Twitter para people can also listen to us on Twitter. Nag-iba yata sila ng ano. Kaya, sorry kanina if I seem a little bit distracted, but I'm following your argument. I mean, this is the beauty of being trained as debaters, right? You can already see saan papunta yung argument, so you're already preparing for the next counter-argument, etc. But I was just trying to pull off the chat here. Now, just one last point before we summarize this dun sa mga kaibigan natin na baka hindi nila masyado na-appreciate yung nuances ng ating argument because it looks like there's still some good news here. And mukhang dapat tuloy ang laban. Yun nga. Kaya sabi ko, wag na tayo magsalita kagabi. Kasi I think there was some frustration. Medyo na-migraine tayo ng konti sa the mediocrity of it all, to put it nicely. Eto na! Hanap ko na yung space. Eto na! Eto na!
Alam mo Richard, tuloy naman lagi ang laban. Hindi naman laging nananalo ang
pero minsan tuloy na pilit. Tapos minsan yung tuloy na inspired ka, 'di ba? Ganito, parang relasyon 'to, 'di ba? Minsan parang sige na nga, ito na yung relasyon mo, 'di ba? And minsan parang inspired ka talaga. This is it. And then meron din
minsan inspired ka lumaban, minsan mapipilitan ka. Kasi pag hindi ka Pag hindi ka
But
lumaban, talo ka.
minsan, magbe-break up ka na at magmo-move on ka na. Kasi meron din option 3, pare. You're missing the point. Kasi mahugot ang mga tao ngayon di ba? So, nahugot ang tao. We're trying, sabi ko kagabi, tinext siya, sabi ko, tulugan natin to, let's be fresh tomorrow so that people can get a proper perspective on this issue. Kaya i-wrap up na natin ito in a good way sana. And wait, bakit may video na? Okay, whatever. Okay.
There are many times, Richard, in history that the quote unquote good side has lost, no?
Yeah.
But the good side never gives up because you really just have to continue to fight. Otherwise, you will never get the good goals that you want to get, the society that you dream of. So, hindi talaga tapos ang laban kasi hindi naman lagi nananalo ang mabuti. Hindi naman natutulog ang mga masasama. Tsaka syempre ang mga masasama, they don't play by the rules. They break all the rules and they will do everything and anything they can to win, no? Sa pelikula, ganun lang yan. Laging bugbog talaga ang mabuti sa umpisa or sa gitna. Eventually, good side will win as long as we fight.
Yeah.
'Di ba may kasabihan, the only way for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing.
Right.
So, tuloy lang laban.
Oh, at saka yung the arc of history bends towards justice, but you have to make it bend You have to work it. You have to work it. So, just for the purpose of especially the mga kaibigan natin who are just joining us on Twitter, Jez, I just figured medyo nag-iba yung configuration kasi ni Elon Musk na naman. Just to wrap it up, number one, it looks like it is not necessarily actually victory for the DDS camp despite all the pretensions by some people na hindi sila DDS, guess lang sila, charot lang sila. Because it was not dismissed. The motion to dismiss this was actually defeated. Na-archive lang siya. So in theory, the trial can be revived should the Supreme Court actually reverse itself. Number two, there is a precedence for the court actually reversing itself when almost in a perfect symmetry you had same number of people en banc, right, voting in a certain direction, but when they were presented with the facts of the case, in that case of the Greenpeace case we discussed a while ago, dun scientific case, when they were subjected to that, they did reverse themselves based on the factual updates na lang tawagin natin dyan. And then number three also, of course, we were discussing this. Actually, we didn't talk about this. Isn't it also interesting, Jesus, na parang walang kwenta yung minority-majority divisions. Because you had like Mig Zubiri saying, sorry minority ako, pero boboto ako doon sa kabila. And then you have Bam and Kiko, majority, pero doon na kami sa, like, it just tells you how fluid and I would really say meaningless, really, this minority-majority was, at least on this issue, which could have two different implications, no? One implication is, mukhang alam naman na lang tao and what are the numbers, what are the alignments, so siguro a la carte ang tawag ko dyan, a la carte politics na lang nangyari. Or talaga baka this is a good sign na even if Bam and Kiko are in majority, they can do what they did yesterday, which is they could still make a principled, pragmatic intervention even if kasama sila sa majority. Actually, the third point nga this is what we didn't discuss kanina, maybe babalikan natin. But for the purpose of our audience, pwede mo i-summarize yung number one and number two na archive doesn't mean deads na ito. In fact, na-defeat yung dismissal. And number two, we do have a precedence of Supreme Court reversing itself even when it was en banc, and there is almost a perfect symmetry.
Yeah. So, Justice Carpio, a few hours ago said that the motion to archive actually gives more room and more life to the motion for reconsiderations filed before the Supreme Court to reverse the Sara Duterte versus House of Representatives na ruling, because the motion to archive, just like the bookshelf behind Richard, you can archive the book, babalik mo sa bookshelf, pero pwede mo ding bunutin ulit pag gusto mo nang kunin yung file. So you can retrieve the file, you can retrieve the archive. So compared to a motion to dismiss, which was the original motion of Marcoleta, that lost because he agreed to change the motion from a motion to dismiss to a motion to archive. That is, for me, a temporary win actually for the pro-impeachment group of personalities like me and Richard, because
so de facto deferral. This is a de facto deferral, which was what really people were fighting for. Yeah.
It's a deferral for time, for the Supreme Court to reverse itself. And which begs the question, no, tied na siya kagad, will the Supreme Court or can the Supreme Court reverse itself kahit unanimous yung decision? Definitely, as long as generally pag factual errors yan or there's a strong backlash from the community to show the errors of the decision, the Supreme Court, being humans, are humble enough to listen to the community that will convince them that there were factual errors, which was the case in the case of International Services versus Greenpeace about BT Talong. The scientific community had an uproar. Narinig ng Supreme Court, pinakinggan ng Supreme Court, nag-oral arguments ulit yung Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, yes, we made the mistake, and the unanimous decision became a unanimous reversal. Unanimous reversal. So, hindi ko naman sasabihin na, baka sa Sara Duterte, unanimous reversal, no? Kahit 8-7 lang yan, okay na.
Just need 8. Yeah, you just need 8. You don't even need a. So we have actually a precedence of not only reversal but unanimous reversal in light of the facts that came in. But that raises the other question that I want to remind people before we go to the last part, no, which is yung argument na ano na lang refine nyo na lang next year or idaan na lang sa election sa 2028. That's very problematic because the contention of the critics is that the rules of engagement has changed, that the threshold for impeachment has changed. You cannot allow this to just be, right? That there should be a fervent hope that in light of new facts and new implication being pointed out, no less than by not only multiple ex-chief justices, but also by Solicitor General in the MR of the House of Representatives. Something has to be done about this, right? Because there could be, at least according to critics, some very troubling implications for democratic accountability down the road.
The purpose of an election and the purpose of an impeachment are two different things. Of course, there are some similarities because both can involve political decisions or politics. But in an election, the primary factor there is whether or not your interests are represented. Itong tao ba na to na gusto kong iboto, maganda ba plataforma niya? Maganda ba yung mga legislation proposals niya? Bababa ba ang presyo ng bigas, ng kuryente, ng tubig? Gaganda ba buhay ko? Yan ang primary considerations in an election. Of course, being a corrupt officer or a greedy person, that can be a factor and will be a factor in an elections too. But that's not the primary. Sa impeachment, it is about the impeachable official and whether or not he committed culpable violations of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust, corruption, high crimes, etc. So, there are violations. Pwedeng binoto mo siya, mabait siyang tao, wala pa siyang ginawang krimen, later, may ginawang krimen. Kaya impeachment ang tool or solution. In the 6 years, sa gitna, may ginawang masama, pwede mong i-hold accountable yung public officer. So, with all due respect, hindi natin pwedeng antayin ng 2028 kung mayroong clear crimes or clear culpable violation of the Constitution or betrayal of public trust because different ang purpose ng election and ng impeachment. And as I said, if pareho ang purpose, ba't pa natin sinulat ang Article 11? Buhayin na lang yung article on impeachment. Wag nang magka-impeachment, election na lang lagi. Mag-antay ka na lang every 6 years kahit corrupt na corrupt yung official or traitor, pro-China, binibenta na yung bansa after 3 years, hindi mo siya mapatanggal except through elections? That doesn't make sense.
Actually, you know what the bigger problem with the election? Corrupt people can win elections. I mean, that's the biggest problem with that argument. It's like, last time I checked, I'm not sure it works that way. Like, I'm not sure we have the best record of voting out of office people na medyo problematic. Okay, I won't say more. Di ba yun ang pinaka-bobo na nakita ko sa argument na yan. And I was really, really disappointed to see certain people from even progressive side like, daan na lang natin election. Kasi, I'm sorry, but popularity contest is not necessarily a best mechanism for accountability, especially when you look at our unfortunate history of really questionable people not only getting elected but keep on moving up the value chain, moving up the chain of command, right? So again, if we talk,
Natandaan ko lang, Richard. Sabi ni Alan Peter Cayetano, antayin na lang daw yung
I
2028.
was not referring, by the way, to the
No, no,
very
no, no. No,
respectable
ako.
senator.
Di ba, sabi ni Senator Alan, antayin na lang yung 2028, labanan nyo na lang siya sa 2028. That is hypocritical because siya ba nag-antay ba siya ng 2016 bago niya binarag, tsaka bago niya sinupalpal si Binay sa mga Senate hearings about corruption sa Makati? No, he did not because ang sinasabi niya noon, may corruption ngayon. Panagutin na yan ngayon. Bawat taon na may nandyan yung corrupt official, may nawawalang pera. Yan ang sabi niya noon. So, why would we wait for elections to hold someone accountable? And by the way, hindi naman lumaban si Alan Peter sa 2016. Tumakbo ba siya for president? Hindi naman niya kinalaban si Binay sa presidency 2016 eh. Oh.
Bakit mo pinangalan si Al? I was not referring to hindi ko alam kung ako yung binablind item ulit na kagabi, but ako hindi ako nagba-blind item. I'm just making a general argument that I find it problematic na idaan na lang sa ano na to because we don't have a very good track record of and rule of law is not like wait every election cycle for some sort of accountability. At kung may ginawa kang criminal act, being booted out of office is not accountability. Right? Like, in what earth is just not being in power punishment? Like, no. You can still have a
Correct.
beautiful life, wonderful life, amazing life, even if you're not in office. It's dami. Kaya nga love na love ko si Cynthia Villar. Yung talaga, Papa ba tayo? Diba? Yung, like, I really, like, it really resonates with me. I want to write a book. Papa ba tayo? And then go one by one through all of this ridiculous parang discourse analysis ng ating politika with all due respect sa ating legal luminaries, amazing people, wonderful people. Jesus, I won't let you go before putting you into one final trouble. How do we go from here to make sure yung, for instance, for the lack of better term, when I say pink movement, this is a big tent coalition of anyone who's sick and tired of Team Kadiliman at Team Kasamaan, right? Let's just call it Team Liwanag / Pink, right? What do you think is the way forward? Because on one hand, we saw even Manay Leila. You saw me even reacting the other day. Again, as I said, we cannot take away anything from Sentry when it comes to his sacrifices. His life will immediately be in danger kung makabalik mga yon. At the same time, we just felt maybe it's not the right time, the cadence, to point out disagreements, frustrations with what could have been done or what should have been done or what may not have been done by Lenny, for instance. I just felt it's not good optics, it's not good timing. Pero happy birthday pa rin kay Sentry, of course. And of course, we should never forget his sacrifice for democracy. How many times this guy risked his life during Digong? He continues to risk his life, and his life will really be in danger should Duterte's come back. And we know exactly why. We know exactly why. So Manay Leila, who I think, in my opinion, was the one who paid the most price as the martyr of the cause during the Digong time, also came out and basically called for like a constructive way forward. We had Ronald Llamas also on this show the other day saying that there will be efforts by civil society groups, non-interested, non-partisan, very spiritual people. I'll just go as far as that without spilling beans, who will do their part to make sure now we can avoid fissures within the grand movement, the coalition, and all of that. And ako, I blatantly said, and we said that 4 days ago, di ba? Na sana yung mga followers ni X, Y, and Z, we agree to disagree. And wag natin kalimutan, hindi tayo magkalaban, right? We may have some ideas, tactical differences, or baka iba yung gusto natin maging presidente, etc. Yung iba naman naghanap buhay lang, as Jess put it brilliantly the other day. But we don't need to be mean and cancel culturing each other. How do you see us moving forward, Attorney Jess?
I think with 3 years before 2028, no, all the backdoor talks or channels in negotiations should begin already, no. So si Senator Trillanes, we respect him highly, but I think he should be more circumspect to try to help the coalition remain strong and build it in preparation for 2028. Ako ang nakikita ko kasi dyan, ang tension points, no, the reason why there's a seeming fissure is because Senator Risa was given the standard bearer or parang banner of the opposition when she was the only senator and opposition figure in government when Senator Bam, Senator Kiko was not
National
yet
government.
position.
National government. Kasi may mga
In
local
national
naman.
government,
National
yes.
government.
When Mayor Lenny was not yet a mayor, siya yung naging parang standard bearer ng opposition. So, from there on, madaming nag-gravitate towards Senator Risa. And she performed with Kibuloy, with Alice Go, with Pogos, with Online Gambling Now. People can see her performance, both the leaders of the opposition and the grassroots of the opposition gravitated towards her. But now we are in 2025. Senator Kiko, Senator Bam, they won. There was a huge surprise in 2025.
Under
Mayor Len,
Risa's leadership, let's not forget that Risa was the leader of the opposition, at least last time I checked, when we had such a fantastic performance by Akbayan, by Kiko, by Bam. Let's just not forget that, right? Yeah.
yes, yes. But of course, there was also the kontrapunto for the other side, no? Ako, ano kasi ako I'm really ambivalent for now. I'll go back to my later point na onus is on Mayor Lenny, as I told you before, no? But the other side naman kasi says, well, Mayor Lenny also campaigned for them. So parang yung national figure or national status ni Mayor Lenny also lent to the win of Kiko Bam. So may tension points talaga. Like, who's the leader of the opposition now and who is the more figurehead or symbolic plus actual head of the group. So ako, in my opinion, the Fisher point here is there's an onus on Mayor Lenny to really early on inform Senator Trillanes or Risa Ontiveros if she has plans of running. Because I think hindi ko friend si Senator Risa. We're not really super close, but I super love her. I think Senator Risa will give way if Mayor Lenny decides. So I think the onus is on Mayor Lenny. Plus, nagpaparamdam si Lenny. In my opinion ang sabi niya lately and yung kanyang planos as mayor, may 2028 finish lines siya. 2028 finish lines as mayor. So dati, akala ng mga tao tatapusin niya yung 9 years. Parang yun yung sinasabi niya noon eh. Pero ngayon, parang merong ulit ibang interpretation na parang naghahanda siya for
Baka
20.
naman kasi hindi siya presumptuous na manalo siya as mayor again after 2028.
Ano na yun? Sure ball naman yun na marire-elect siya. Pero,
Baka yung kasama natin si Ka-Jerry, my favorite. Baka may explanation dyan.
ano na yan? Sure ball na yan mananalo 2028 kung mayor na nga Naga ulit. Pero, so ang tanong na nga lang, will she run for mayor again or for a higher position? And if for a higher position, is it for president? So I think the onus is still on her. Plus, even if ako personally, Richard, I'm sure ikaw fan ka din naman ni Senator Risa. I think still, sabi ko nga dati sa usapan natin, madami pa ding hang-ups ang mga kakamping or the pink movement from 2022. And you know the nostalgia factor in trying to bring back Lenny as president because now they know BBM naman pala talaga palpak kasi higher inflation, more corruption, more issues, etc. Kung si Lenny sana panalo, ganito, ganyan. So, mas madami pa din currently sa pink movement who are gravitating towards Lenny running. But if Lenny is not running, I'm sure they will gravitate towards Senator Risa. So, in my
or Bam. I think, and I'm not suddenly counting out Kiko. I think Kiko is also signaling that he could be the standard bearer too.
That's a different topic altogether, no? Si Senator Bam. But so even before we go to Senator Bam, the onus is still on Mayor Lenny. If Mayor Lenny doesn't run, mag-uusap-usap dapat sila. 'Di ba? Tayo naman, pag-uusapan lang natin yung pinag-uusapan nila. Pero sila dapat ang mag-usap-usap.
The reason we're doing this, at least kasi ganito yung usapan behind the scenes will be also affected by the toxicity of usapan on the record. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to detox that. And please, for heaven's sake, stop gaslighting us. Please lang. So we're trying to detox that so that we provide the room for behind the scenes to go well. Ako naman, the Freudian psychoanalysis in me says that this is just a natural process of getting over certain tensions and subconscious issues and eventually, di ba, through a process of psychoanalysis, lalabas sana yan and eventually we're gonna come out of this stronger. On that note, thank you very much, Attorney Jess Falsis, for yet another energetic. Yan ang gusto ng mami kapag tayo kasama mga debaters. Ayan na ng mga ADHD. Si Leloy lang daw hindi, Si Lele lobat lang yata. Si Lele kasi very posh eh. He's a very posh. He's very prim and proper. Pero tayo nila Dino De Leon, ikaw, oh my goodness, ang ingay-ingay natin. Parang tatlo lang tayo, puno na yung stadium ng boses natin eh. But I think that's what people love about us because even if mali tayo minsan or mukhang mali, at least they can see the sincerity of our politics of conviction and politics of responsibility. Yan talagang gusto natin mangyari dito. On that note, thank you very much, guys. Maraming salamat for joining us for the latest, the R and the J and the hindi ko na sasabihin yung baka tayo, hindi na PC. All right, para sa bayan, thank you so much, Attorney Jess. Have a good day and talk to you soon. Next week, magsama tayo. I'll i-message kita. Let's do naman in person naman with the rest of the gang. Booyakasha.